Get your rush on with Jay Brooks and the Morning Rush on 98.7 Kiss Country.
7:38 on a Monday. No, it's Tuesday. I'm all messed up, Pete, and what day it is here. I've, spent last year wondering what day is today. It felt like a Sunday for like 4 days.
I was just going to say, once you go through those holidays, it really takes a while to get the time frames back in your head the way they should be.
Oh, yesterday felt like a Sunday. I don't know why, but because I was working.
Yeah.
But oh, yeah. So 2021 all wrapped up. You had a good New Year's and everything. We haven't talked since then, have we?
No, we have not. Yes,
Yeah.
everything went well, pretty mellow, but ready to get through January and start looking towards spring. Is it too early to say that?
No, it's not, Pete. No, it's not. I'm happy so far with what it's been like here through our winter months.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been too bad. We've had a little bit of cold, and we're going to get a little bit of cold again later this week, but so far it's not so bad. One thing to point out today, if you're out driving, we did get some heavy frost in a lot of places over the night. So we've got several trucks out in the area putting brine down on the bridges and everything to get rid of that frost. So just be aware of that. Again, as always, bridges can be a little bit slippery in shaded areas. So we got trucks out right now hoping to get that taken care of.
Well, there you go. Things going on and out. The winter months in the Midwest.
Yeah, exactly. And then tonight, obviously, the winds and possibly a little bit of snow. And it doesn't really matter how much snow we get with those types of winds, it's going to affect driving. So again, if you're going anywhere tonight or tomorrow morning, make sure you got the winter survival kit and make sure you give yourself some extra time and just be aware that driving could be a little more difficult.
Where I live in town, but yet it's kind of in the country.
Sure.
So I can look one way and go, ooh, that's what it looks like in the country. And then I look in towards town and I go, and that's what it looks like in town.
Sure.
So
yeah, I'm sure there's a difference too.
Oh, there is a big difference.
Yeah.
Big difference. We were driving yesterday, the wife and I, and she's like, we've been married for like 28 years. She goes, what would you rather have, the snow or the cold? And I looked at her. I'm not going to say what I told her.
Right.
But I did say, I said, I like the snow. I don't like the cold, especially when the wind's, because it was a nice day yesterday. The wind wasn't blowing.
Right.
So even though I don't care. It's like people that go buy a vehicle. What's the car payment going to be? That's all I care about.
Sure.
As long as if the wind's not blowing, I'm good with the cold weather.
Yeah, the wind is the big thing, like you said. That's what makes it feel so much better or worse, depending on how hard the wind is blowing.
Yeah, I had a conversation with somebody. I don't think it was you, talking about how, if we moved to Minnesota, then we could come down here in the wintertime, and they'd be kind of like moving south.
Yeah, well, that's what I always say. I lived in North Dakota the first 20 some years of my life, and I moved south. A lot of people wouldn't say I moved far enough south, but
Right.
it's a step.
Yeah, exactly. I go, if you can go up to Minnesota, you got 10,000 lakes, you can go fishing all the time, whether it's I wouldn't say ice fishing. I'd say more like fishing on the boat.
Sure. Yep.
And then in the wintertime, sitting in a log cabin out in the countryside overlooking sitting up on a hill, that'd be the perfect location for me. I love that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that at
all. If I didn't have to go to work.
Yeah, and if you got plenty of firewood and just have a fireplace going, sounds pretty perfect to me.
Exactly. I don't have to worry about anything. I can always go hunting, get whatever I need to up there. And then I got my hair. I got a haircut. I can have on a regular basis because my wife's a hairstylist. So
you've got it all figured out.
I got it all figured out. The only thing I have to go to town for would be like get toothpaste.
Yeah, and that's important.
Deodorant too is a good thing.
Again, another necessity.
But those are things you go to town for on a nice day.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah. You just plan it that way.
Right, exactly. So obviously no road construction going on. You mentioned about the brine being put down for all the frost on the roadways. Anything else that we should be looking forward to in the coming weeks or months?
I just want to make something for people to watch out for. A lot of times you see when you're driving, you see different vehicles with flashing lights, be it tow trucks or maybe police officer or state patrol, whatever, has somebody pulled over. But if you're coming up on a snowplow, it's pretty easy to distinguish because they're the only ones that have the blue, white, and amber flashing lights. So if you see blue, white, amber flashing in front of you, that's a snowplow. and it's on the road, so start slowing down. A lot of the times when you see the other lights with the tow trucks or the law enforcement, they're on the side of the road, so you need to move over and everything. But with the blue, white, and amber flashing lights, that's a snowplow, and it's on the road. So be aware of it. Start slowing down and be ready for whatever's coming at you.
All right, I'm going to sound really dumb here, Pete, but
Okay.
I thought it was always okay. Like I'm doing this on a regular basis or what?
Hey, I'm just trying to be a polite guest. Yeah, I'm just agreeing with you.
You're right. Because you like being on the show so much. You just want to
Right.
keep coming back. So I remember always being like an amber colored,
Yep.
the flashing lights. Is the blue and the white, is that new?
It's fairly new. The last
Oh, good.
couple, 3, 4 years. Yeah, they see what we did is we were getting our plows hit at a really rising rate, and
Really?
it was happening so often. So the code of Iowa, the blue and white, were only for, I believe they were called emergency vehicles, and the snowplows weren't listed as emergency vehicles. So what we did is we went to the state legislature and asked to do a pilot project. It was going to be a 3-year pilot project where
Okay.
we had a couple trucks on like the interstate routes, and then most of the trucks in District 1, which is in the Ames, Des Moines area,
Sure.
try this blue and white thing to see if it made a difference. They're going to do it for 3 winters. Well, after the first winter, it literally cut crashes by almost 50%
Wow.
in that area. And the legislature said, we don't need the next 2 years. We're changing it. Put those blue and white lights on all the trucks. And it's only in the winter that we have the blue and white lights. And obviously, because of the visibility issues with the snow and stuff. So, yes, it's made a huge difference. So, again, that's just a good way to know when you're coming up on a snowplow.
Oh, good. Because I thought, man, how long? If you're going to say this has been around for like 10 years.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is fairly new, and it's been effective. It's worked for
Oh,
us.
good.
That's really good news.
Good, good, good. I always wonder and think about the drivers of the trucks that are on the highways and the gravel roads. Because I'm going, man, they go at a good rate because they're going to push the snow. But what if they can't see? I mean, the visibility is not as, it's not any better for the snow plowers. And what if they go in the ditch?
Sure. And it happens, but rarely. But
Right.
these drivers know their routes really well. They know the roads. It's a cliche, but they know them like the back of their hands.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that in bad conditions, it can be difficult. And if it's too bad where it's dangerous for our plow drivers, we'll pull them off the road
Right.
because we're not going to put them in any more danger than they need to be either. So it's all condition driven.
Yeah. So before all of this technology and things, I used to be because I used to drive from Garner and Clemmy area
Mhm.
to Mason City and have to go early to tell. Before technology, I used to have to drive from Garner to Mason City and make my own tracks
Sure.
because the snow plows weren't out yet.
Yep.
And people are like, how did you get to Mason City?
Yeah.
So I drove very carefully.
Exactly, and that's what you have to do. If, obviously you're the exception where most people aren't out at those times, but
Yeah.
if you do have to be out at those times, it's very important to have the winter survival kit, give yourself extra time, and just take it easy because the conditions aren't always the best.
Yeah. And the same thing, I drove those roads for 20 plus years back and forth to Mason City. So, I mean,
Yep.
I probably drove it more than some of the plow drivers.
You did it once or twice a day. They probably, during a storm, go back and forth over it several times a day,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Well,
not every day.
yeah. And mine was only just from Highway 18 or 122, whatever we call it these days.
Sure.
You know,
Yep. So yeah, no, it can be a challenge, but they're professionals. They know what they're doing, and they'll do whatever they can to make it safe for them and for everybody else out on the roads.
well, the technology today, it kind of leads us into the whole thing with the 511ia.org website that you can check out. And plus, there's an app you can download as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's I had a friend whose daughter was up in the Twin Cities a week or so ago and was wondering if they should come home. So he called me and asked me, is there something up there in Minnesota we can look at? And I gave him their app, how to get to it and all that. And called me a couple hours later. She was home, and the app made a huge difference of knowing what to expect and whether or not they should leave. So yeah, it's a really great tool. It's a great resource, and it'll help you out a lot.
I know we focus a lot on the Iowa section. It's good that you brought that up. And what is it for the Minnesota people in southern Minnesota that may not know?
Sure, it's 511mn.org or just 511mn app. Pretty much every state, it's 511. Well, it is every state. It's 511, and then their state initials. If you don't know for sure what initials they might be, just Google 511 Nebraska or 511 Missouri, and you'll get the website or a link to their app. So it's pretty easy. As long as you can remember 511 and what state you're in, you're set.
Right. Nebraska. I keep thinking corn, beans, corn, tree, bean, corn.
So yeah, those, again, wherever you're going, that's a good resource to have.
All right, Pete, it's always good to catch up with you. And of course, any severe weather comes along, we always like to get in contact with you and find out what's going on with the plow drivers and to notify people and to keep the plow driver safe.
Yep. You know where to find me.
Oh, yes, I do.
All right.
Sometimes he regrets it, everybody.
Yeah, well, sometimes you just can't hide.
Pete, have a great week. All right.
You too, Jake.
That's the good stuff.